The Bengals beat the Panthers on Sunday, but who won, who lost? It's time for our Week 4 edition of Winners and Losers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the 47,000 plus Bengals fans that have already subscribed, and ring the bell so you get notified when we drop our latest Winners and Losers video or our post-game observations. Make sure you check out our post-game takeaways, and also check out a 2-minute awesome edit that Andrew Fox Miller put together. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, T. Higgins, all reacting to the Bengals' big 34-24 win over the Panthers. And it is a big win. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not. By the way, this video brought to you by Rivertown Inquiry. You got to get to rivertowninquiry.com today. Let's dive into our winners. And it starts in the backfield. Chase Brown and Zach Moss combining for 36 touches. Chase Brown and Zach Moss running for 131 yards. Chase Brown and Zach Moss with 39 yards receiving, including a touchdown, combining for 3 touchdowns. This Bengals offense is exactly what they hoped it would be from a running back standpoint. How they run the ball, how they can run the ball, how multiple they are from a running standpoint. I know people are much higher on Chase Brown than Zach Moss right now. Chase Brown is awesome. And he had a 20-yard run, had multiple explosive runs, finished with a career-high 80 yards. And both of these guys are on my winners list, Chase Brown and Zach Moss. One, Chase is the exact piece you need alongside Zach Moss, where both of these guys can do a little bit of everything. I think they trust Chase Brown to block. They trust Zach Moss, of course, to block and catch passes out of the backfield. Chase Brown has gotten better at doing that for sure. Had a couple of catches on Sunday, but their ability to lean on the ground attack, lean on this rushing game that they have, 131 yards rushing, just huge for this team. And on a day when Joe Burrow throws 31 passes, your running backs get 36 touches, and they do that where they're pushing the limits there, where they have 170 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns combined. You love to see it. So big win there. Number 2, winner number 2 is the Bengals offensive line. This offensive line has been talked about for years and years and years and years and years and years on this channel and really anywhere else across Cincinnati since Joe Burrow was drafted, because they haven't been able to protect Joe Burrow. Well, they checked a couple of boxes off on Sunday. One, they protected Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was not sacked. Now, was he hit a couple times? Of course. Was he hurried a couple times? Absolutely. Not sacked. This offensive line doing a great job with Amarius Mims making his first career start on the road with a veteran group overall. Orlando Brown Jr., I think, is showing everyone how good he can be. Cordell Volson is having his best season so far. Ted Karras, steady Eddie, continues to be steady at center for the Bengals. And then I thought Alex Kappa played pretty darn well too. So this offensive line is coming into its own. And it's what you expected. And you want Mims to continue to grow. You want him to continue to have those learning moments so he can get better and better, because the sky's the limit for him. And this group played great on Sunday. You would take that any day of the week, whether it's the ground game or whether it's pass blocking. And Frank Pollock, who got a game ball from Zach Taylor, also on my winners list, because let's be honest here, he helped the Bengals offensive line play at that level. He's taken a lot of heat over the past couple of years as they've added these veteran offensive linemen that haven't necessarily worked out, right? Trent Brown, it was someone, blame Frank for Trent Brown, or blame Frank last year when Orlando Brown Jr. Was playing through a groin injury, and so he wasn't as effective as he's used to being. Well, Frank Pollock is a winner from his performance and his unit's performance in week 4. We have one more winner, and you're going to notice tandem. So we had Brown and Moss. We have the offensive line and Frank Pollock. Well, let's give Darren Simmons' unit some love. Ryan Rico and Evan McPherson, the punter and the kicker. Ryan Rico averaging nearly 57 yards per punt, had a 63-yarder. All 3 of his punts were inside the 10-yard line. One was returned to the 20, but the other 2 downed inside the 10. Ryan Rico was awesome, was the holder on both of Evan McPherson's field goal attempts. The 56-yarder, which Evan Money Mac McPherson reminding everyone who he is. And then the 46-yarder to seal the deal. Shout out to Tyson Anderson as well. Had a nice special teams tackle and is playing well. But overall, Darren Simmons' special teams unit came through. Winners this week: Ryan Rico, Evan Money Mac McPherson. And this video I mentioned was brought to you by Rivertown Inquiry. Maybe you want to cheer on Money Mac. Maybe that 56-yarder has you feeling all the good feels about Evan McPherson. Well, you can get your official Money Mac shirt right now at rivertowninquiry.com. They have two locations, one Findlay Market location, the other in Oakley. I love Rivertown Inquiry. You can also get these hats right here, CBT, baby. So don't delay. Get to Rivertown Inquiry today. And let's get to the defense. And the defense, look, or the losers, but it's all on defense. And a lot of groupthink here, or grouping together, I would say, for the losers, because it was team wide issues. But I will say Cam Taylor-Britt falls in this category, and I like Cam a lot, but something just felt off. And maybe he is battling something. They mentioned it on the broadcast a few times. Maybe he's battling some kind of injury, but something felt off to me about Cam. And I don't know why. I don't know what it was, but that's why he falls in this category, because I know he's a better player than that. And everyone's going to crush him. And I'm not necessarily there, uh, even though he falls in this category, because he didn't play as well as we expect him to play. And so you fall in this category, but it's like, all right, well, why? What's the logic? What's the reason? And don't know the answer. But Cam Taylor-Britt had a day to forget on Sunday. And then two others, and these are group things. But the Bengals pass rush, they blitzed more on Sunday, and they still didn't sack Andy Dalton. And I know Trey Hendrickson was able to get his hand on the pass that Dalton was throwing up, and ended up throwing lollipopped up because of Hendrickson disrupting the pass to Von Bell, and it caused an interception. But they didn't really heat him up much. Not much pressure for Andy Dalton. Didn't have to deal with it. Threw 40 times. It's not like they weren't having to drop back. And so that is pretty darn concerning, because if you're not going to make Dalton uncomfortable or make opposing quarterbacks uncomfortable, well, you want to stop the run. And they didn't do that either. They gave up 5.3 yards per carry. And so the Carolina Panthers beat themselves a little bit. Now, this Bengals defense did have a couple of splash plays. The Chris Jenkins fourth down play, huge, to kind of set the tone, at least a little bit, give the Bengals some momentum. And then the other play was the interception. That was huge. They did get a stop after Ryan Rico pinned the Panthers back at the 7-yard line late in the fourth quarter. But you still, I think that the Bengals pass rush takes a big L for their performance on Sunday. And then the other thing is just their ability to tackle. The Bengals' ability to tackle, well, it's lacking. It's like the slider in Madden, the custom sliders went all the way down, and they just cannot tackle. And this is a team-wide problem. Geno Stone had issues. Von Bell had a big missed tackle on Miles Sanders. Dax Hill, who I thought was really good in coverage on Sunday, struggled again to tackle. Jonathan Mingo gets by him. Xavier Legette broke a couple of tackles. Like all of these guys, Geno Stone taking bad angles. Part of it is tackling, and part of it is taking bad angles and not putting yourself in position to make the tackle. But that is a major, major issue, especially with the matchup coming this week. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about Bengals and Ravens. They have to tackle better. And so, as far as this overall team is concerned, not worried about Cam Taylor-Britt, even though he falls in this category. Certainly worried about the pass rush, especially with Trey Hendrickson dealing with a stinger, according to head coach Zach Taylor. We'll see. Those are weird. It's basically neck injury. It shoots down your arm, and that's why he's holding his arm weird, walking off the field, because it's like a nerve issue. So hopefully he's okay, and hopefully he can play this week. And even if he can, they need to be better. And if he can't, it's going to be really tough. So how can they fix it? I'm not sure. That's Lou Anarumo's job, but it is an uphill climb, something that they certainly have to do, especially if they're going to stop the run as well. You got to be able to heat up the opposing quarterback, get them to third and long, and then get pressure. And we just didn't see a ton of that. Even though they won, we didn't see a ton of that. And in overall points wise, you would take that, right? Like you would take 10 points in the second half. But the Panthers, it felt like they were moving the ball up and down the field for the most part. And then my last thought here is the angles part of it is such a big deal when it comes to tackling. And I've seen too many of these guys take bad angles, and then they put themselves in bad positions. You got to get these guys down to the ground. We'll see if they can figure it out. We'll see if they can clean it up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. We have a ton coming your way this week. And if you're looking for more, check out bengalstalk.com. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.